Yeah.
So we're coming to the end of our series, Encounters of God. Encounters with God. Yeah. Stories of grace overcoming guilt.
Yeah, grace overcoming guilt. I've always been paranoid about accidentally saying from the pulpit stories of guilt overcoming grace.
Yeah.
So even when I'm preaching it, if you go through the recordings, you might notice there's this pause. Stories of grace overcoming guilt.
Right.
Because
your wife is like,
I don't want to mess that up. Right?
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. I'd be the one to mess that up for sure.
It's tough when you're in front of people.
Yeah. So these have been really good messages where we're seeing a consistent theme, three kind of themes that have come out of this as you've taught us. The man encounters God. Every time God encounters man, he reveals who he is.
Yeah.
Man, we see man for who he is.
Yes.
And then there's an offer of grace.
That's right, yeah.
And we see this offer of grace accessible only through Christ.
That's right.
And there's been that application every time.
Yeah.
And it's been really good, I think, for me and for our people. I think God has really used this series.
Yeah.
How many more do we have?
We just have 3 more.
Oh,
so
okay.
we're doing Peter this time.
Okay, nice.
And then next time we're going to look at Paul.
Okay.
And then the time after that, we're going to look at John from the beginning of Revelation.
Yep.
And then I'm going to do a wrap-up sermon.
Okay.
To just kind of review where we've been and to draw out some of those prominent themes, and then we'll be done. We'll be moving on. Yeah, so, it's hard to believe it's almost already done.
I know it's been a really good series. So this Sunday we're looking at
Peter. Mm-hmm, yeah. So Peter, here's the guy that did what he thought he would never do.
Yeah, right.
And so the question that we want to ask ourselves as we look at this encounter that he had with Jesus, right? We're jumping into the New Testament for the first time here in these encounters with God, is how does Jesus restore someone who did the unthinkable?
Yeah.
The very thing that he said, I'm never going to do it.
Right.
Even though everybody else does, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to deny Christ. I'm not going to fall away.
Right.
He does it.
How
does he come back? How does he get back up? Because we struggle with that, right?
Yeah.
When we fail, we tend to either try to excuse or trivialize that failure, or to make ourselves feel better, or we just become burdened by guilt.
Yeah.
And that guilt can lead to an actual self-righteousness, because then we want to climb out of that pit of guilt ourselves.
Right.
And so what we're going to be looking at is how Peter fell, and what he learned, and then how Jesus restored him. So how he fell through his pride and unbelief. He thought he could never fall, and furthermore, he actually really did not grasp what Jesus was doing by allowing himself to be arrested and crucified. And Peter had this different conception of what Jesus' mission truly was. And what Peter needed to learn then was that he was more sinful than he could even imagine.
Yeah.
He couldn't imagine having denied Jesus, and yet there he was doing it.
Right.
And so how did Jesus restore him? Jesus doesn't rebuke him. Jesus doesn't reject him. Jesus doesn't cast him aside. In this counterintuitive and astonishing display of grace, Jesus just asks him questions, 3 questions, the same question each time. And he says, Peter, do you love me? And it's almost as if Peter has this experience in which you're talking to someone, like you and I have had, talking to someone that we know is so much more intelligent than we are, and we're wondering, are they...
What is he thinking?
Yeah, what is he thinking?
What is he getting at?
Yeah, what's on Peter's mind is probably Jesus... digging in. Peter, do you really love me?
Right.
But what Jesus was doing was giving him this triple opportunity to affirm his love for him, that he had denied that he ever knew Jesus 3 times. Right. And in allowing Peter to reaffirm his love for Jesus, what a strong statement, the strongest possible statement of Jesus saying, Peter, I love you.
Yeah, right.
And so in this way, Jesus commissions Peter to lead his people, to lead out of forgiveness rather than out of a sense of guilt or even out of sense of self-assertiveness.
Right, yeah. Very good.
Yeah, so the main idea then is, whereas Peter went into this crisis thinking that he would be defined by his strength, and then in the crisis he failed, so thought he might be defined by his failure, yet because of Christ's forgiveness, he becomes defined neither by his failure nor by his fortitude, but by forgiveness.
Forgiveness, wow.
Yeah, by grace.
Well, that's some amazing themes there that are very applicable for all of us, for leaders, for followers, for Christians in general.
Yeah.
I think pride, the self-deceptance of sin and the power of pride in our lives.
Yeah.
And may God break that even more in us this Sunday as we come to Him in worship.
Yeah, that's
Amen.
good.
Look forward to it.
Yeah.